Hello everyone, this is Cindy, and I'm coming to you with Cruelest of Hearts, an Eyeless Jack X Reader by Vivian Arvigu. Little oopsie daisies from yesterday. So on the 26th of yesterday, I was going to post, and then we had unexpected family come over. So that was fun. It was in the middle of recording the Cruelest of Hearts video, and when I tell you, it was like a circus of animals came into the house. It was very, very loud. And a bad part is I recorded You'll Learn to Love Me. And already, like, I had finished that one. That one was a short video, so I was like, hell yeah, awesome. I was on a roll. And then I started on this one. And then I was like 15 minutes into this video. And then I'm pretty sure I had like 15 other minutes left. I don't know. I don't know how long this one is, honestly. I was guesstimating. And I was like, no. I was like, my video. But it's okay. I got to hang out with some family, and that was interesting. But posted up the other video, and now let's get into this one. Chapter 19. What am I to you? The song in this video is Hollywood Undead, This Love, This Hate. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Turn around. 1, 2, 3. I see that your condition is getting better with the passing days, EJ commented lightly, exiting from his lab and finding you pacing his room up and down, arms suspended on the sides for balance and mind occupied with counting each careful step you took. You look up to meet with the man's empty stare, and upon doing so, you grace him with a wide smile of bliss before spinning around to show off the restoration of your complete control over your legs. It was about time, don't you think? I was tired of you carrying me around. You sigh and pass from right in front of him. Today marked the passing of 2 whole weeks from the moment you and EJ had made your deal, and it was the 4th day that you were once again able to walk by yourself. The frostbite had finally started the withdrawal, allowing you both to save your legs from being amputated and be able to walk around without wanting to rip your legs out from the pain or EJ carrying you. So without the eyeless man, an attribute that you were still kind of freaked out about, making you walk around the room to train your legs, you did so by yourself, wanting both to put a bit of space between you and regain your pride and not requiring help to do the most simple things. Not that EJ was one to complain or anything like that. On the contrary, within the span of those weeks, you found out that the man held unlimited supplies of patience and calmness, even for the most tough situations that made even you want to bang your head on the wall. And why? Because not being able to walk yourself to the bathroom or having to be carried around like a doll to do even the simplest of things was both nerve-wracking and a source of unlimited shame for you. Yes, EJ walked you to the bathroom of his lab, but no, he would always stop at the threshold and close the door for you. So you pretty much had to crawl your way to the shower and anything else you needed. Never, ever were you ever going to let him help you in there, but other than that, the man was patiently helping you, not making a single comment that could prove his discomfort to you. He brought you food, gave you one of his books to read when you were bored, and went around with your examinations, showing nothing but pure fascination towards you. Every once in a while, he would make you sing, mostly before the both of you went to sleep, but not even once did he lay his finger to hurt you in any way, keeping his promise to the letter. This was what eventually made you relax your attitude towards him as well. Yes, he was still a lethal threat, but the more time you spent around with him, the more you started to notice little things about his character that would otherwise pass unnoticed. Like the fact that he valued his personal space more than anything else. Once he was alone inside his lab, you were absolutely forbidden from disturbing him, except if you were dying suddenly or someone had charged inside the room. Also, you weren't allowed to touch anything inside the room except from his rich variety of books that went from normal and easy-to-read material to huge books about anatomy, medical conditions, and anything that had to do with the human body. Other than that, he had all kinds of small quirks that made him a very strange but interesting person, like his need to keep his room as tidy as possible, yet denying your help to clean up. The weird looks he gave you every time you ate even a small piece of bread, or the complete freak-out when you were smelling funny when that time of the month was here. Still, he continued to be a very serious and to-the-point person, even if he cracked a joke every once in a while. The weirdest thing of them all was that after the first week, you found yourself laughing at the said jokes. Something that weirded you out. How can one be even remotely relaxed around a killer? Alas, even if you were still afraid as hell of him, you found yourself in a way relaxing in his presence. You knew perfectly well that you could wake up with a sliced neck at any given moment. Still, you kind of enjoyed the small talk the two of you shared. I'm going out for the night, so I expect you to behave yourself while I'm gone. You heard him say from behind you as you walked back to your bed and plopped down on the mattress, watching as the man walked over to his closet, opening it and proceeding to stuff various things in his pockets, like syringes and a scalpel. And the sound of his words, a cold chill went down your spine, but you tried to ignore it. Why are you saying it like that? I only tried to escape when you were gone last time, you mock him. I'm aware of that, and this is why I request from you to behave. This time, the only way to escape is through the front door, since I nailed the window shut. But you know what will happen if you cross that door, right? He simply said, ignoring your tone and checking to see if his mask was correctly placed. Not that he took it off at all. You will come back to find me, grinded into a pulp. You breathed out and pulled your blankets towards you. Exactly. He pulled his hoodie over to cover his head. And you know that our deal states otherwise. I know, but what will happen if anyone tries to get in? He must have sensed the sudden change in your tone, which altered from playful to a bit scared, since he turned and his empty holes nailed themselves to you. No one is going to come inside. They know that I'll be gone, so there is no reason for them to come. Fiddling with your thumbs and literally feeling a stare nailed on you, you ask the only question that was pestering your mind all these days, that you two have been coexisting in peace. But what will happen if they do find out about me, EJ? In your words, the tall male remained silent. It was quite obvious to you that he had also given thought to that scenario, and since he was debating on what to say, the odds were not so good about you. Maybe they weren't good for the both of you, so you stayed there for a little bit. Mind's working with 1,000 turns per second, with his own deranged brain trying to find a possible answer, and your own brain regretting ever asking this question. Not even you wanted to know in the end of the day. But as you opened your mouth to tell him to forget about it, he spoke first. You want the whole truth? His tone was cold and completely emotionless, making you yelp in your spot and your brain struggle to form the necessary words to give him a response. Yes, no, why did I say that? You didn't want to know. You will be immediately executed, and I will be exiled from this house, if not killed on the spot as well for letting out the secret about my kind. Yep, there it is, he said it. I'll never ask a question like that, you murmur, more to yourself than anyone. You shouldn't ask questions like that in general, he says and walks to the door. I will be back sooner than last time, a few hours before dawn. If you need your medication, search for them in the lab, but I believe that my blood has helped your heart to stabilize for now. And that was true, actually, ever since the first shot of his blood that he injected you with. The arrhythmias were a bit stabilized, and you found yourself both more energy and less need of medication. You were actually amazed to find that out, but it also made you think that he was even more. No human ever had black blood to begin with, let alone with healing properties. No matter how much you wanted to question him about it, though, and try to learn the truth, you eventually decided against it. You didn't know if you wanted to know in the first place, and maybe the truth was way more dangerous than living with him inside a house filled with killers as well. EJ seemed excited by your physical progress nonetheless, and the injections were now an everyday occurrence. A little voice inside your head told you that maybe this was the cause of the restoration of your frostbitten legs. Even the bruises hadn't disappeared completely just yet from your shagged skin. You nodded. No need to worry, I don't think I'll need them. Then I will be on my way, he said, opening the door and passing in the dark corridor behind it. Closing it behind him, you heard the soft click that the key made, and you let out a breath you didn't know you were holding, knowing that since he had locked you in, you were somewhat safe. Instinctively, your eyes wandered to the only clock that existed in the room, just above the door, 11 o'clock. So EJ will be back around 5 in the morning. Great. That gave you quite a bit of time by yourself, just like you were wishing all those days the man had never ventured out to do his hobby from the moment you had first tried to escape. But right now, you weren't even willing to try anything and just wanted some peace of mind. You just wanted to relax and sleep the remaining hours of the night away. Picking yourself up carefully, your light steps lead you in front of the lab door, which you push open and turn on the lights. The cold floor tiles enable a piercing cold to penetrate your exposed skin as you walk to the bathroom barefooted, making you shiver violently. EJ hadn't provided you with any socks or something like that, so you avoided the lab area and only walked around the bathroom since it had wood paved down. Entering the bathroom, you closed and locked the door behind you, before stripping from your clothes and entering the shower. EJ was gentleman enough not to come barging in while you shower, but out of instinct, you continue to lock the door just in case. Turning the faucet on, the moment the relieving hot water comes in contact with your cold skin, you let out a sigh of relief, feeling your muscles relax considerably and the tension leaving your body once and for all. It was one of the last things that truly made you happy right now and took your mind off from things. Mostly from thinking that Jack was gone and you were practically a prisoner to a bloodthirsty killer. Well, at least it was way better here than in your own house. EJ might be one of the most dangerous people to walk planet Earth, but right now he was treating you better than your family ever did. Even after all those years that had passed, various scars left from things that you were beaten with or injured you still remained on your skin, accompanying the ones that EJ gave you, but had long ago healed completely. You were curious, though, to see how your mother and stepfather were doing. Did your mother continue drinking? Oh, come on. Of course she would continue to. But instead of mourning for your presence, she would probably drink to celebrate your absence. The one to truly mourn you, though, must be your stepfather, Jake. Now, he wouldn't have a punching bag to mess around with when all his potential employers realized what kind of a scumbag he was and fired him on the spot, or when he failed to find money from his friends. You wonder, though, How long did the money they had collected from you singing last after you ran away? It must be around 2 months now that you went to college and were abducted from EJ, so if they weren't working, it's sure as hell that they have no money. And to hell with them, you don't really care. They tormented you long enough. Stepping out of the shower, you safely wrap yourself in a nice towel and begin to dry yourself off. Even for a man, EJ had pretty good taste when it came to choosing, or most probably stealing from his victims' houses, towels. Now you were all set and dressed up, and the last thing that remained was to shove yourself under your warm blankets. The way back to your bed was faster than usual, since your need for sleep and a few hours of not thinking was just what you needed. So turning the lights off and pulling the covers to protect you, you shortly drift off to the numbness of sleep. The darkness of the room greeted you once again, like a constant companion when you were pulled out of your dream and brought back to reality once again. You shifted uneasily and rubbed your tired eyes, sleep still dancing on the edges of your brain along with the dream you were seeing up until then. But you couldn't return to the relief of the unconscious just yet. Your throat was burning you up and you were parched. And groaning in annoyance with your bad luck, you tossed your covers to the side, the cold air wrapping around you immediately as you stood up. It was way colder than normal, and from the piercing cold and emptiness of the room, it was evident that EJ hadn't returned just yet. Turning your head to gaze outside the window, you see a threatening blizzard having wrapped the whole scenery up, eating the tall trees away and covering everything outside the glass, giving the landscape a terrifying tint of white and a complete darkness fused together in an odd but breathtaking mix. The trees were swinging back and forth harshly to the merciless air that was emanating about the magnitude of the bad weather, turning into distant black masses that had completely emerged to one another. One was completely unable to see where one ended and the other started, even if the vast skies were covered by the thick layer of clouds that only served to darken the night even more. Millions of snowflakes were dancing around as they made their way to the ground, managing to place white spots on the dark night. No wonder it was so cold tonight, and EJ is out there making his way through the woods. Without bothering with the lights of the bedroom, you walked to the lab and opened the lights there, wanting to get some water from the faucet on the wash basin, and then ended up momentarily blinding yourself. You groan and cover your eyes that don't take too long adjusting, so you continue on inside the room. Out of the corner of your eye, though, you spot a nice fridge resting on one of the walls of the lab on your left. Some cold water would be nice right now, actually. Maybe EJ keeps some in there. With your eyes half lidded, you open the fridge only to find 2 jars that were filled with a weird greenish yet transparent liquid, and nothing more inside the fridge whatsoever. Grabbing one of the jars, you bring it close to your eyes for further inspection. The one you were holding was filled with something round and red. It even had a bite taken from the right side of it. Wait, it seemed a bit familiar, the shape, the color, the veins. Wait, veins? Blinking once again to clear your vision, you look at it again, only for your brain to immediately realize what you were looking at. It was a heart, a human heart, a half-eaten human heart. Suddenly, all you saw was your own fingers relaxing the grip around the jar. The heavy item followed the natural laws of gravity that pulled it hard towards the cold floor and in slow motion. The glass gracefully covered the distance, only to shatter completely once it came in contact with the floor, breaking it a million of pieces and letting loose of the organ that it contained, releasing it to slip its way on the floor as well. A piercing scream broke through the silence of the night, puzzling your brain that it was unable to understand that it was produced by none other than you. As if on cue, your legs backed away on their own, blindly moving you away from the grim spectacle, only to lose their balance and make you fall on the floor butt first. Your senses of self-preservation didn't stop there, though. You backed away all the way till your back came in contact with the cabinets all the way across the room. Your eyes were still glued on the heart until it happened. Your stomach hurled, and turning on the side, you emptied it. A human heart? You couldn't believe it. It was an actual half-eaten human heart, and it was lying on the floor right across from your terrified figure, completely bled out and empty. With a bite mark drawing your eyes like a magnet, you pulled your knees and rested your head on them, rocking yourself back and forth, trying desperately to think clearly and understand what the situation was. Why there were half-eaten organs in the fridge, but once your brain finally manages to form the answer, you hurl once again. Time ceased to exist around you, and it seemed like an eternity passed by you, and you didn't even notice it. The only thing you could really see was the heart lying on the floor and your constant back and forth movement as you tried to get a grip of yourself. At some point, you heard the door of the room open and someone walk inside the bedroom, but you didn't even flinch. It wasn't until the lab door opened further to reveal a cautious EJ. His empty gaze firstly fell on the mess that spread right in front of him, glass and the greenish liquid mixed together, before following the trail of glass that led towards you. Unwillingly, once he looked at you, you yelped and tears rolled down from the corners of your eyes, making their way on your clothes. You didn't even realize you were crying silently up until then. Blinking them away, you stared calmly at the frozen male who was covered in small snowflakes that came in contrast with his totally black attire and was holding a sizable bag on his left hand that produced the sound of glass when it hit each other. You didn't even want to think what was inside. The silence that fell between you was a deafening one. Like the silence of the dead, it fell among you like a heavy cloud where no one dared to break. What wouldn't you give to know EJ's thoughts right now, but your own thoughts were deafening ones as well. Eventually, he decided to break the silence first. I have some things to ask you, EJ, and I want you to tell me the truth for once in your fucking life. You cut his words in half, unfolding yourself and messily standing on your own 2 feet proudly. He remained totally silent, but under your piercing gaze, and after some time, he eventually nodded wordlessly. This is your source of food, isn't it? Even to yourself, your voice was alien and ice cold. He nodded yes. You pressed your lips together. Is this what you do to your victims? You rob them from their organs in order to feed yourself? Yes, that is what I do from the moment I remember myself. I am no human, and nor did I want you to believe that I was one. I was clear towards you from the beginning. I am a monster. His voice was equally even, yet it didn't hold to any coldness, but something else, worry. You swallowed hard and inhaled with the dreaded question, all the oxygen turning into courage to help you take that one step. Is that what you'll do to me after I die, EJ? You'll take my organs to feed yourself? The question hung among you like a demon that wanted to prey on your very own soul. EJ's posture stiffened until he remains completely still, and you were pretty able to hear your own heart pounding hard inside your ears, sending sheer pain to resonate through your system. Unable to cope with the stress and mental pain you were feeling right now, turning it into physical pain. EJ seemed to notice that. Since his head perked up on the muffled sound, he took a few hesitant steps towards you, tightening and relaxing his fists. They were curled up into balls with either determination or anger. You couldn't tell right now since your own anger was fueling you up. Why didn't he tell you the fucking truth for just once? The man that was now staring at you was no human. Yes, you had realized that on your own, but nothing was quite like the realization that he was a cannibal as well. Killing humans to literally feed himself. He didn't know how to cope with this. I'm not going to hurt you, Ryan. His determination dripped down from each of his words like liquid metal. He meant it all the way, you could tell. Then what am I to you? And don't tell me that you kept me because you were just feeling lonely. Why did you keep me, EJ? Because I am lonely, came the furious response from his side, and he took another step towards you. I am fucking lonely, and your presence seems to take it all away. That is the truth, and the truth alone. When you sing, your voice sounds so familiar that manages to chase away my madness, Ryan. Because I am the most deadly and insane person you will ever meet, but your voice, and more importantly, your presence, changes all of that. I have encountered and killed so many people, so many humans, but you are the only one that I cannot. You sound so familiar that I cannot find the will to kill you, even if I wanted to. And be reassured when I tell you this, I want to kill you all day long, yet I cannot. Now, do me the favor of explaining me why in all possibilities you are so special. No tears dripped down your face as you nodded. I cannot explain that, EJ. I honestly don't fucking know. Now it was you that took a few steps, covering the distance between the two of you and doing something that you knew you would curse yourself about the next morning. You do the most insane thing a person can do to a killer that is standing right in front of him. You place your hands on his cheeks, well, where his cheeks are under the cold mask. The black substance that was dripping down from his eye sockets burned you a bit as you wiped it away, yet you didn't mind it at all. Right now it only seemed appropriate to do the simple move, even if it turned out badly. The man stiffened under your touch, but did no movement to withdraw himself. You want to know the weirdest of things? You give him a weary smile. For the past weeks that we were around each other, I realized that you remind me of my friend Jack a lot. The same height, same hair color, same victims of loneliness and hurt. Funny, right? I am no people reader, neither a monster reader, but I can see pain when I encounter it. He didn't say anything, so he continued on. You will call me crazy, but it's okay if you take my organs. Even if I feel crazy uttering it aloud, but this way I will assist you one last time, even after I am gone. Don't be alone, EJ. It is one hell of a long time, and being alone doesn't help. This time, he gently wrapped his gloved hands around your wrists, never removing them from his face. I do not wish to kill you, Ryan. I know you don't, but you have to. This is the deal. Of course, the deal. You were sure that if he had eyes, he would roll them. Now, why don't you let me see your face, huh? No need to hide under the mask. You gently coo and reach out to the edges of his mask, ready to pull it, but before you even realize it, he yanks your hands away, taking a sharp step back to replace himself out of your reach, nodding negatively. Never try to remove my mask, Ryan. Never again try. His voice was nothing more than a low, threatening hiss, and his fingers flexed in a way that made you realize he was about to wrap them around your neck, yet struggling with himself not to. He smiled a sad smile. I won't, you reassure him. And I am really crazy, you know. I now know I am, you shrug. Because I accept you for who you are, for the cannibalistic killer. It's okay with me, and I explain it to myself as reality and myths colliding with each other. That's the only explanation I can give. And you smile yet again. Good night, EJ, you say, and walk out of the room, leaving the man to his own thoughts. Nothing had prepared you, though, for what future had in store for you in the next days. That is the end of that chapter. The chapter after that one is chapter 20. Oh, actually, The Origin of Halloween, and then chapter 20, Disintegrating World. Let's see what that is. Oh. Okay. That's a little thing. I guess that's a different story they did that they were advertising. But anyway, sorry. The chapter after that one is chapter 20, Disintegrating World. Let me know how you guys felt about that, and I will see you guys in the next video. And again, I am so sorry for this being late, but y'all have a lovely one. Bye-bye.